Lamptey Show. My name is Joey. This week I am joined by Dom.
Hello there.
And Neil.
Hello.
Moments of the week, gentlemen.
Ooh. Go on, Dom.
Okay. Yeah, well, I asked early in the season for Oliver Dovin to make some saves, and now he's only gone and made them. So you're welcome.
Your cup runneth over.
Yeah. The one in the first half against Blackburn was incredible. The double save, the reaction. That's what you want to have confidence that your keeper can put off at some time. You don't necessarily want to rely on it, but I think just knowing that you have a keeper who can actually help you out if you're not playing well makes so much of a difference. So I think if you compare that Blackburn game with the Portsmouth game, in the Portsmouth game, we had a spell where we were under the cosh and we just letting goals bang, 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 bang.
Yep.
And against Blackburn, we were under the cosh and we were able to ride it out. And yeah, when you have a goalkeeper who can make saves, then it makes the job of winning football games a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, and like you say, it's about the way that it can turn the tide, because the two crucial things in that game, outside of scoring goals, obviously, is those saves and scoring as early in the first half as we did, because then there was just no game after that. But it's all momentum and energy and all that sort of stuff, isn't it? And like you say, you just need... He's been brilliant since he's come back in, but it's not a revolutionary thing to want your keeper to occasionally save a shot on time.
Yeah.
But you're right, there are some really, really good saves in that game. It's crazy to me to think of like what was happening that Collins was preferred for as long as he was. Like, not even just at all, but that...
It was all that, wasn't it? It was the people thought Dovin wasn't talking, and you're like, well, I think we're probably reading a little bit, because you've got somebody who isn't talking, and then somebody who looks very, very scared to be a goalkeeper. I'll go with the quieter guy for a bit. I think I'll stick with him. A bit wild.
Neil, have you had the chance to come up with one?
I have. I was going to say the penalty shootout win, because we hadn't done that for a while. And we were sort of exercising some demons. But actually, then I found out that another thing that we hadn't done in a while, winning midweek away, occurred this week. So I'm going with that. I didn't realise it had been quite so long. I don't go to too many away games now anyway, and certainly not midweek ones. So the idea that I've been sat, heaven forbid, watching iFollow for 3 years during a week and not experiencing a win, God, what have they been doing to me? But that's good to get that one out of the way, and a good one it was.
Yeah, I couldn't really believe that when they said it as well.
Everybody was then going back, looking through all the fixtures, obviously trying to figure out. It's true. It's all true. I think we won on Good Friday once, but even that was a 3:00. So it just doesn't seem right. But yeah, apparently it is.
It's a long time to go, but I wonder how many games it is.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It might not be, but it's still way
more than it should be. But
it's before the playoff season. Somehow we got to the playoffs without winning midweek away. We had a good season. Like, how do you manage these things? It feels like partly sort of coincidence, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
you, Joey.
I'm going to round things off with, I think Frank Lampard might dislike Clive.
Ooh, what gave you that idea?
Well, I don't know whether I'm probably last to notice this. It just feels like when he first came in, he's really ebullient with Clive and he's kind of magnanimous. And as time has gone on, like, he just seems... It's like he's taking lessons from Reece Carr in just sort of like shoving him away. And to be fair, it's really highlighting how bad some of Clive's questions are post-game. It's just... Lampard, who otherwise just seems totally like nice and friendly, just looks at him sometimes as if to say, "What he?"
yeah. He's not even just contrary. He's saying what he thinks. A lot of time, managers go along with it, don't they? But what did you say the other day? Like, Clive said something. He goes, "Well, actually, no, I thought they were good." I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, you're telling him, you're putting him in your place." Like, poor Clive, just trying to do his job. I've
never seen Lampard be anything other than just like... just like, affable and amenable. Do you know what I mean? But with Clive, it's like he's just reached the end of his tether. He's only been here a couple of months.
Which is such a shame because Clive in his own right seems fairly harmless. I think, like as a general sort of view, he's not doing too much. I think something to do with his appearance might set the agenda for how you then sort of react to him. Because Frank must look at him and think, well, you must have an opinion on him before you've actually spoken to him and got to know him.
There's also a bit of kind of like interviewer 101 for me, which is like, I just think when you're preparing your questions, not that I'm any sort of expert, right? But I would have thought this is like common sense. I think what you're aiming for is open questions. So how, what, where, when, why, right? Clive has this stock in trade of asking things like I think he asked Ben Sheaf recently. It must have been amazing to get to the FA Cup semi-final. And he was like, "It was.
It was."
That's next. It's not really a question. Like it's not. The structuring of that is, I think it was because of playing the third round. It's, now that you're in this season's FA Cup, how does it make you look back on last? Like that is a platform to go
elaborate. Yeah,
you must have good memories. Yes, I do. Brilliant. Move on from that. Then
it's very much yes, no questions. Are you happy? Yes.
Yeah. I've noticed this. Do you agree with that? Yes, I do. Okay, brilliant. Next thing I've noticed is this, and then that tends to be Clive's interview style.
And he didn't have to worry too much, though, did he, with Mark? Because he just used to ask Mark something, and then Mark would have his sort of 10-minute soliloquy, and just like, I'm going on now.
Mark knew he had a word count.
Yeah, exactly. I'll do what I can.
Yeah. And yeah, like I say, it's been a lot of fun watching. Even Frank Lampard is like, just what? It's been really difficult when you. Although saying that, I wonder how it works with, like, he's at Chelsea and Everton, who you'd think he has to do presumably like 10 billion people's worth of questions and press conferences and whatever. I wonder if part of it is that it feels a bit small time to just walk into a room and it's just Clive. it's Clive and Andy Turner in a laundry basket with a dictaphone on record.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, we can be this good time, can't we? Because since we last recorded, what is it? Is it a win if you win on penalties?
We're going to have to count it.
We knocked out Sheffield Wednesday, and we've had 2 league wins since then. So problem solved, right?
Yeah.
And problem solved. And I think we can all agree that should be the last game that Ben Sheaf's ever played for us, because that is where it looks at things.
Well, we don't need Sheaf, Wright, or Mason Clark anymore. I mean, football is solved forever, for eternity, because we've won a game, and that's how it works, Joey.
Can we talk? Who's got an opinion on Jamie Allen?
I've always got an opinion on Jamie Allen. I think
to hear it.
You're allowed to give Jamie Allen. So I think there's a few things to say about him. I think he's a very important character in the sense where he's probably one of the only remaining OGs, from what we consider to be Coventry, the good times. He is one, and I think it's quite important that he's still there, still around. And I think we've seen there's like a respect there across the board from a lot of the players in terms of who he is and what he offers to the team. So I think that's really important. I think he's shown in the last few games that there's a willingness there from him, which we've been sort of lacking as well, just to kind of perform a role and just have some sort of authority, which is odd to say for Jamie Allen, but some sort of authority on the pitch, which has kind of been necessary. And I think, that's all good. And I think what we can say is he deserves credit. I think what you can also do is sort of say he's done well for the last 2 or 3 games, but long-term sustainably, does that mean he's going to be a better player than Ben Sheaf, or will he last the season, or will he have a bad game at some point? He probably will. So I think we can just accept, look, you're doing well, keep doing what you're doing, but let's not just say, okay, well, he's doing well now. He's now sold football for the end of time. Everybody else who's played well previously, no longer has a role to play. I think let's just relax on it all for a moment. It's doing its job. It's serving its purpose. But things are going to change, and we're going to need the squad. Let's not write off everybody else in that position. That's my thoughts. But you can obviously see I've been triggered by things I've seen on Twitter and everybody going over the top about it. But that's kind of my view on it.
I just think for me, and I'd be interested to know what you think about this, Dom, there's been a couple of things in the last few weeks that have highlighted the importance of round pegs in round holes. And, actually, I don't think anybody in their right mind, and I don't think it's a criticism of Jamie Allen, thinks that Jamie Allen is a better and long-term bet in central midfield for us than Ben Sheaf is. But actually, what if Jamie Allen is what we need to give us a bit more protection?
He's showing it, isn't he, at the moment?
Dom, you don't look convinced?
Yeah. No, I think what I've been most impressed with Jamie Allen over these past few games is just that ability to receive that ball in front of the defence and just pick a forward pass quickly. I think that's what's been the revelation about him. I think the actual defensive side of his game has been more of an issue. And I think back to that first 10 minutes against Bristol City, where they were just running in behind our defence and picking holes at will. And I think that's the difference a proper defensive midfielder can make. I think he's got that ability to keep the play ticking over, and I think it's been quite important to us recently is just being able to sort of get a little bit unstuck in terms of playing the ball out of defence. I think the speed at which we're playing out of defence and through midfield is a lot quicker recently, and I think that's made the difference. It's like he's almost doing half of that role really well, and that's been valuable for us. But the off the ball side is still a concern, and I think just generally about the recent performances, I think we have left so much space at the back, and I think over the past 2 games, as good as it was to win them, I think a quality opposition attack would have just picked us off with the amount of space we're letting teams get around our defence and getting in behind it. And I think that's where someone, in theory, someone like Sheaf or someone sort of a bit more rugged off the ball would make a difference. But Alan has surprised me in a pleasant way, because I think there's certain aspects of our play that he's made a real big difference. And it's not really something I'd associated with Jamie Allen, just being able to play the ball forward quickly and under pressure. That's been a little bit of a revelation for me with him.
You know what I find interesting is that Lampard I think he thinks in the same way as you, Dom, in the sense where we've won games and it's great, and you have to accept what that means in terms of giving people confidence and giving them sort of momentum in terms of what you can deliver. But I don't think he believes in any form that we're there or anywhere close to being there, or what he wants at the moment. It's quite strange what it's where he's still not critical, but mildly critical of the team and the performance. He's not going over the top. Whereas I do remember a lot of time, not saying Robbins was totally different, but Robbins, how many times would he call the player outstanding or be incredibly sort of publicly sort of delighted with what's going on, when there's a lot still to sort of deal with and solve. So it's quite interesting to see that Lampard, you take the wins, because they help you develop something. But I think he does recognise that a lot of what's happened has been in spite of ourselves. I mean, I wasn't particularly pleased after Sheffield Wednesday. The idea that we didn't win that game in normal time, were somehow able to lose our minds in the last minute again. I know we're down to 10, but that was just outrageous to me. And it's all good fun winning penalty shootouts and winning matches, and it is great. But if you do things by mistake, if you win by mistake, that's not something you can kind of hang your hat on and say, right, okay, everything's solved now. There's still sort of issues in terms of sort of the wildness in defensive decisions, which we're being saved a little bit by the keeper at the moment. He's going through a bit of a patch of doing good things and saving us. But sustainably, you need to resolve those things a bit more. So I'm not saying we're looking better in defence, but I think there's more to come from that defence, because at the moment it's still not a real functioning thing, I don't think.
But we've got lots of faults this season, but our league position was what's the word? Like a statistical aberration, was meaning that we were further down than we were, and that was that we were conceding 3/4 of the shots on target for a period of the season, and we were also grotesquely underperforming our XG up front.
We're still there. Have you seen it the other day? Like I looked at it the other day, and we are top of both tables. Like, we've conceded way more than we should have, and we've missed way more than we should have. It's just that's a real aberration.
But the thing that's adjusted, that was always going to adjust, you'd imagine, in the last 2 weeks specifically, is Dovin now making really good saves and playing really well. And that, for as much as I've criticised his finishing, I'm not sure you'll see a better finish than the Thomas Asante finish against Bristol City. It's just unbelievable. That's
Rocket,
really, yeah, it's fantastic. The problem I've got, which is what you've just said there, is this is all great until Leeds come and beat us 6-0, because and expose every failing that we've got, because they're a proper team.
And we have to be a different version of the team that we were when we played them at Ellen Road, because that was one of the most sort of tepid approaches to us playing a big team, a bigger team, a good team for a very long time. Normally we puff out our chests and give something, but we looked absolutely terrified of them. So you hope that side of the game doesn't remain when we next play them. Or was it early February that got moved, didn't it?
Yeah.
You hope that if we can just contain some momentum, that positivity and belief helps us assert ourselves and play better football. But you have to resolve some structural and tactical things, I think, still. So we'll see how we get on. We might find a solution in between now and then, but it's tricky.
I'd forgotten about that game. We talked about it at the time. I don't get hugely angry after COF performances, but that was that really stayed with me for days.
It was nothing. I just wasn't expecting it. Like, even though we weren't doing particularly well at the time, we just, when we played against Spurs, we stepped up. We showed we had some intensity about us. We just looked absolutely terrified.
It was so limp, weren't it? It was just we just completely just let them do what they wanted.
Weren't us, yeah. But now the funny thing is, I don't really know who we are, what us means anymore. I think that notion's gone from my head. We are, we are a reset, refresh. We are different players, different mindset, everything. So I'm not quite as sort of tied to the notion of us anymore, because I think that's gone now. I mean, with Vivash and Robbins and the players, all that sort of stuff's gone, and we have to learn, understand who we are. I'm guessing we want it to be a team that passes the ball a lot. That's my assertion at the moment.
See, it certainly seems that way. Also, what do people think about the recent back three and the sort of the overall sort of change of shape and whatever else? What have you made of it, Dom?
So, I think part of it was down to the head of the Norwich game not having any wingers available, and I think that kind of forced Frank Lampard's hand. It's been ever so slightly different implementation, I think, to what we saw under Mark Robbins, where that back three very often became a back five. I think we've wanted to have the wing backs a lot higher up the pitch. And it's just been trying to find that balance right between getting the wing backs high and actually being able to cover the space on the break. And there has been a lot of opportunities at times for teams to turn us around, basically, by getting behind those wing backs, and it's left us scrabbling a bit. I don't expect it to stay longer term, especially considering that we've been linked with signing another winger this week, which would say that the plan isn't to stick with the back three, but it's kind of something that's done out of convenience. It's been interesting to see us trying to play it a little bit more enterprisingly. But that has the success of it has probably come down to Oliver Dovin being able to make saves. But it's also just good to have a front two, because I think Sims and Thomas Asante have really benefited from being played as a pair. That's worked quite nicely. I think they complement each other quite well, because Sims got the physicality and maybe less of the mobility, and Thomas Asante, for whatever people feel about what he's capable of, sort of technically, his like energy and his pace, really covers, and also just his willingness to get shots off. I think that helps us get unstuck a little bit too around the penalty area, and that's what I think led to his goal against Bristol City. I don't think many strikers would just go, I'm just going to take a snapshot there and see what happens. But he's someone who will try shooting anywhere, any place, at any time. And I think it's okay to have one player in the team who will do that.
I'd just like him to be a bit better at it. There was slightly better at it. On the subject of that goal, he come off really shortly afterwards. And did anyone else think, oh, so he is going to Stoke then? Because I just thought he scored that goal and that Lampard had gone, that'll be the goal that seals the deal.
Get off. Yeah.
He's not getting injured now. Game of the card now. Clip that clip. Get it out to Stoke.
Was it Stoke or Blackburn?
Stoke and Blackburn.
Was it both of them?
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. I'm still not sure what happened the other day, that goal. I'm absolutely certain that he just stole the celebration, and Sims is too passive to say anything about it. Like, you can't tell whose goal that was, but basically Asante was off celebrating before it, and he's never losing it after that. But yeah, it could have been both.
Have you seen a conclusive replay of it?
I've tried to conjure up my own. It's really hard. I've not seen it. It just seems like it goes off both of them at some point. It could be either. So, a different striker might have tried to steal it back off him. But I think in the world of goal contributions now, they've both got one from that. So I think they'll be all right.
And Sims has been better, I think, these last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, I think that playing up front in the two has probably helped him.
Yeah, I think he's a lot of confidence. It's not actually. I really like Van Avac second half the other day. Him livening up, like he's been really open about feeling sort of lacking confidence. Things not quite going for him, but there was like a period the other day when he was just doing those things, those running at players, and like they're the things that help you. It's where they're the intangible things where you can play, you can do stuff, but the moment you start feeling yourself again, and I think Sims is similar, where he is becoming more involved. He is doing that sort of long striding. He's doing it in the semi-final. He's doing more of that, and that's kind of probably being helped by, like you say, having Thomas Asante next to him. So whether it's fortune or whether it's by design or plan, like I feel like the benefits of what's happened in the last few days, simply by winning, whether it's been perfect or not, will help us. Like, I think there's a dream that we will eventually want to get EMC and Sakamoto and Wright and get the team back into that sort of dream, sort of green arrows everywhere, sort of where everybody fits perfectly. I don't quite know how we do that at the moment. I don't think he's going to do it anytime soon, especially when things are functioning as they are. But like say, if he's looking at is it Schlupp or is it the other guy, that Rangers guy that we're looking at?
So that Matondo one seemed like it was, the fella from Rangers seemed like it was almost done, but it looks hopefully like it's broken down today, because to my knowledge, this is not a great player.
All right.
Yeah.
Why would it break down?
How much of it? So apparently, so what Pete O'Rourke from The Sun, who I believe is on the list of verified actual journalists.
Yeah.
He said it was something to do with Rangers asking for some sort of bonus money as on top of the deal.
Right.
But he's on a lot more than any COV player is at Rangers than Matondo, and has got an injury record that you could describe as Reece James-esque, or maybe not, maybe not quite that bad, but that it seemed a peculiar choice of signing.
And he's a left winger,
principally, but that can just as much play on the right. But the Lampard was very pointed in after the game against Blackburn and said that it's, I'll paraphrase slightly. He said he doesn't like to not play Tats. He thinks Tats is a winger, and he was really happy to bring him on because he's had to shift the system. It's left there for nowhere for him to be, but he wants him to be on the pitch. So you'd have to figure that Matondo was a short-term plan to get back to wingers to allow him to play Tats on the other side.
Which wouldn't make any sense though, would it? Because you've got EMC, and we always got this complication of, do you play right there eventually if we play? Like, I don't see any room for that at all.
And I know that it's circumstantial, but if we'd have lost the last 3 games, I could have understood how you might be desperate. But actually, you've made a tactical tweak that has, outcome-wise at least, has worked short term.
Yeah.
I think, can you not hold fire? Or even more importantly, is whether Wright or EMC are injured or not, or whether everyone is back fit, we still definitely need either a central midfielder and a centre back. Like, can we?
Priorities, please. Yeah.
Can we get our priorities right here? Like, we don't. There's a question over whether we might need a left winger to fill in a hole, but we definitely need. Can you imagine? Like, what is it now? Like, when do we get promoted? 2020. You imagine telling you then that we've picked up form again because we've put Jamie Allen back in the centre of midfield. You'd be like, what?
He solved everything, yeah.
What? How? So you did, and presumably the problem with that is that feels like it's a summer signing for them. But I don't know.
Things, without being too negative, things will shift and form will change again, and it won't resolve itself and resolve everything for the rest of the season. It just doesn't work like that. So you ride it while it works, and you keep an eye on it. And if things are starting to look perilous or things just don't go our way again, you have to adjust. And that seems really harsh on Jamie Allen. But I think the information I have on Jamie Allen is a canon of 5 years of watching him versus, this portion of matches. So you kind of understand what he can offer and what he can't offer. And I don't think he's doing too much different to what he always used to do, really. It's just that it functions in that structure at the moment quite nicely. But
and I don't want to sound like, I don't mean to sound like I'm slagging him off, because I'm genuinely not. What I mean is, it's incredible that he has lifted his game and maintained things to the extent where he's still a functional part of the squad. That first season, he looked like the chief candidate of someone that wasn't up to this level. Then massively kicked it up in the second season, but only in the same way as as it would be surprising if Liam Kelly was still here, as an example. Jamie Allen fits into that, and that's as much as it is a credit to his performances as it is that it's shocking that we haven't brought in a central midfielder as an upgrade during that time. So again, it's not, I don't mean it to be a dick about it. Let me ask you this. Go on, sorry, Neil, yeah.
No, I don't think you are necessarily being a dick. I think it's fair to suggest. I think if I'm going to describe Jamie Allen's performance levels, I would always say they're fleeting. I think I have seen him play very well a lot of times throughout those 5 years. It's not like he doesn't know, but his ups and downs are what they are. They're very up and down, and he will have good games. And so I'm all for praising him when he does something well. But, we're well aware that he is capable of not having great games and not functioning, because I make the joke about the small legs thing, but I think that's really sort of quite a problem for him. Like, he's got a smaller area. If he has a bad touch, he's in trouble. Other players can kind of resolve that a little bit. He can't. He has a bad touch. He's never reaching it. And so if he has a bad day, it's a very obvious bad day for him. And that's, I don't want to feel like I'm picking him out as a bad player, but I just think that all the signs are, we know what Jamie Allen is. And right now he's doing the good Jamie Allen, and I'm all right with it. But
long may that continue.
Yeah, of course.
Let me ask you both a question. If we don't do any business in January at all, what would you say is the percentage chance of us getting relegated?
I don't think that's I'll say it. I don't think that's on the cards. I think there's
So,
dreadful
by the way,
teams.
it's not a loaded question. I would say
No.
it'd be like 5% likelihood. I don't like. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't think it's
I
a
agree.
likelihood.
Yeah, I just can't see that. There's worse teams in. So with this squad, with this team, it didn't change anything with regards to that. I just think that's not happening.
Anything different from you?
Yeah, I think this is a decent enough squad, and I think we can probably afford to be patient in the transfer market and focus on who might actually improve us rather than just going, we need bodies, we need to get someone in, anyone, we need anyone now, we need to sign them, we've got to get them while they're here to stay. We're actually in we're quite a decent team that are probably missing 2 or 3 pieces, and let's not panic. And I suppose like on the flip side is, what is the percentage chance that if we made one good signing that we make the playoffs? Is it that different between that percentage chance of relegation if we don't sign anyone? What difference does making signings make?
But I think that's the thing, isn't it? Right, and it's about who we sign, and I think the thing of like the signings that you're going to try and make to pep things up are the ones that the names that we keep seeing: Jeff Schlupp, Rabbi Matondo, Jamie Patterson. They're not promotion signings, are they? They're not even strategic signings. They're just because Lampard has asked for some players. I just don't know whether you're better off just saying, let's just focus on getting. And if you get like whoever who was the fucking who don't matter. If you've got someone that's on your list and has been on your list for a year, and you've wanted them, and you can get them in January at the same price as you can, then obviously, crack on and do it. But I just think maybe just signing players all the time isn't the answer to all of football's problems.
Yeah. To what end as well? Like, we need a hell of a run now to do playoffs. You need playoff form, God. But it's just a punt. And I think if you do anything, you do something with the defense. When you look at everything else, it's all up there in terms of what we're doing in the attacking side of the pitch. It's good. The defense is the area where, if you resolve those issues, you've got a chance of sturdying up. But even then, we could be brilliant for the rest of the season and you still finish 8th. There's only so much you can do. I wouldn't go too mad.
Very quickly, on a bit of a tangent on the subject of the defence, because I do think it's worth saying out loud, is I'll tell you who I thought was Triffic's probably too far, but certainly one of his best performances I've seen in a long time is I thought Binks was very good on Tuesday.
Yeah,
I think possibly the second half flattered him a little bit because Blackburn had taken their ball and gone home after about 60 minutes. But that he did, in the same way as we've talked recently about the functionality of Luke McNally, Carl McFadzean, Callum Doyle, and having spoken to Stoke fans, they can't believe the way that I talk about McNally having played for us. The two mates who I've got who are Stoke fans are just like, this is just their opinion of him is that he's basically the same as Michael Rose. And I couldn't believe that he's at Bristol City. But you do wonder, again, is that Binks looked very happy to be in the middle and very happy to want to charge out. You wonder whether, actually, is he someone that you need to get rid of in inverted commas, or actually just need two different players either side of him, or just need something different? And again, it's basically down to, do we need to sign an entire new defence? Or do you need to work out exactly how you want to play and think, well, actually, if I had someone that complemented your skills, you could stay and do that job? Just think, amazingly, 2 years down the line or 1.5 years down the line, we're still not really much closer to the answer to that question for some of those players. I don't know how much of it is the players' fault.
I think different is an interesting word, because in that season, the playoff season, we simply went different. But we had Rose ready to go, who most people would suggest Rose was a decent enough player to play. And you wouldn't say it's a huge issue, but we got different in McNally, and it changed everything. And we went down a completely different route. And he just seemed between him and Doyle, and then McFadden doing all the interesting structure work in the middle, you've stumbled across something that really works. So I think for me, if we were to do anything, it would be I think it is just different. I don't individually, I have my sort of grievances with each of the players, but I also like them in different ways. But I think we're lacking something in the middle, just a real authority, which can probably be supported by any of those four. I don't really think any of them wouldn't work, but I just think there's that extra authority which is missing from all of them. Also, just to say, Binks came off after 59 minutes, in case any listeners
did it.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, well, that's why he looked so good because. But yeah, but he did look good. I liked him. I think he looks good in the middle. Actually, I think that's kind of that role for him.
That had completely escaped my memory.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw it in there because
wonderful. Yeah, it's better to do it than at least it makes people realise that you two are on the ball.
Been there.
Christ. Well, look then. We like to moan, don't we? So when it's not too bad, it's a nice it's a nice tight 30. Anyone got anything to add that we haven't picked up on so far?
Just one thing. So for this Blackburn game and this game on Saturday, so Blackburn were missing 2 of their best players with injury, and then throughout the match they had like 3 or 4 players go down with injury. And then Watford, they've got like 2 big players out injured for this game on Saturday. So I'm wondering if we haven't discussed enough Frank Lampard's black magic skills. Because I think one of the key reasons why Blackburn just ran out of steam on Tuesday night was they had 2 players on the pitch who were injured, and they just lost all momentum.
I mean, four subs with 30 minutes to go is a big call, John Eustace. That's big behaviour. So yeah, that was odd. Oh, no, go on. No, I was going on to a slightly different topic. So carry on.
I thought there was a bit of that, and I know it wasn't as injury related. I also thought there was a bit of that with the second half against Bristol City. I just felt like that was a game that could have gone either way, and it just felt like they flagged so quickly and that again when we scored just didn't seem to have it in them to pick it back up. And it's tough at this part of the season. And again, maybe we're not giving the team generally and Lampard as much credit as we should do on this point, because we've got Wright and EMC out and Sheaf's out again. You'd potentially, most people I guess would consider Wright and Sheaf our two big players. But we are still wading through games. It might be just that recently we've been a bit lucky or whatever else, but I'll take it considering how it's been through the rest of the season. And obviously you need time and context and whatever. If we get battered by Watford, then it looks ever so slightly different. But it's fair play to him. But yeah, you're right. If that is the case, then long may it continue. Would be perfect for Black Magic as well, because he's literally the least person in the world you'd expect.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I was remembering that whole like Bielsa training ground spying incident. So I'm just wondering if Frank Lampard's just been sneaking into training grounds, just like throwing out like banana skins and marbles too.
The Bielsa thing is a funny one that I've not thought about for a while. Wasn't there a brilliant postscript to that when he did his press conference and someone said to him, "Have you been spying?" Is that not only was he like, "Yeah," but he was also like, "This is everything I've found." I really doubled down on the evilness of it. Fair play. Yeah, you're right. It would be nice to think of a sort of a Home Alone situation with Frank. That's why it was so imperative that there were top level elite coaches so that he could visit opposition training grounds. Yeah, very good point.
This one
Any
simple
more for any
trick
more?
will break football.
I thought Blackburn's striker, I forget his name now.
Mac Targay.
It's rare that you see one player doing all the work for the whole team. He causes a lot of trouble. Didn't know much about him, but I thought he did well. So yeah, I wouldn't. That's doing a lot of the work that Sims. You imagine somebody of his size could do. You know, and I reckon that Sims at his sort of height of confidence could do a lot of that himself. Gurney was weird. I don't know if I should mention it. Like he compared him to Christopher Samba, even though Christopher Samba was a defender. And for it's just like, you don't say things like this, Rob. That's madness. But yeah, that occurred to me. That was a bit strange. But yeah.
On Sims, and I know that we're a bit prone to over-analysing sort of post-match interviews or whatever. Do you think it's been interesting that obviously I've had this theory about trying to give Sims confidence, but that Lampard seems, and I don't mean this as a criticism because it seems to be doing all right. Again, is that so after the Blackburn game is Clive saying to Lampard, you know, he's doing really well, blah, blah, blah. And again, he's like, yeah, but actually I need him doing a lot more.
It's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah. Mark, as bland as he would always outstanding. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a different approach to dealing with these players.
It's really interesting if you think about the difference of approach, and it's clearly measured and fair play because it does seem considered, whether it's right or wrong. Is he was really, really effusive in his praise for Rodoni. He was clear about wanting to see Sakamoto on the pitch, but the Sims scores and assists, and he's like, yeah, actually, I need a lot more out of him. And it was the words of someone who you think, well, that sounds like you're seeing something we're not seeing. Like there's either like in training, or that you know him better than we do, and that you know that's the way to. Just thought it was an interesting point of comparison about the way that he spoke about the different players. It was nice.
I think that's a good reference though, because our references, we've seen Sims be very quiet often. So when he does step up and turn into something, we're probably the first to say, "Oh, there we go, that's more like it." Whereas, you know, his view of it will be, he will see absolutely what Sims can be, and even the version that we see on the pitch, he just expects way more, which is good. I mean, if he expects way more, that's a good sign.
As daft as it sounds, it was nice to see Sims do the interview.
Yeah,
because again, you just don't really see much of him. He seemed fairly light. He seemed fairly, you know,
good signs.
It's really all of this is really funny. The undercurrent here is, yep, happy with the last few games. Let's wait for the next ones.
Yeah. Give us 2 weeks.
I'm not committing myself to saying things are good because I know what could happen.
I'm not ready just yet. No. Give me a bit more. I need a bit more data, a bit more information, please.
Very, very good. That's 2.
Yeah.
Let's see how we get on.
Yeah.
We don't need you to beat Leeds, but we do need you to not tank against Watford. So let's see how we do. Well, in that case, then I think we need to just wait for those games, don't we?
Yeah, that'll do.
Any more for any more?
Nah.
Fabulous. Thank you, Dom.
Cheers, good to be on.
Thank you, Neil.
Ta, thank you.
Thank you, listener. Bye.